This week on One Day Leader, our contestants question the origins of tribalism. Good afternoon and a happy Human Rights Day to you, Mzansi. Ngithanda ukunamukela ohlelweni lwethu i-One Day Leader ngalolu suku esikhumbula khona amalungelo ethu njengabantu baseMzansi Afrika. Mina nginguPearl wakashongwe umtimanze ubambo lunyu mageza ngelibise mandiyahleti. Now today will not be your ordinary episode. I have a huge surprise in store for you that will entail you stay glued to your screens. Engakusho nje okwamanje ukuthi you get to see people you never expected to see battling it out on this very podium today. As we celebrate this Human Rights Day, we ask why, after 23 years of democracy, is it that we as Black South Africans continue to perpetuate derogative stereotypes amongst each other? Although most of these stereotypes are circulated in the name of humor, on a more serious note, we've heard stories of real lives being affected due to acts of tribalism. But have we ever really thought of how these stereotypes began and how they truly affect those whom they are associated with? Why can't we look at a person for their individual qualities as opposed to classifying them as either superior or inferior because of their cultural group? Is tribalism a pertinent issue within the country? And if so, how can we as South Africans resolve it? You can join the conversation on our Facebook page, One Day Leader SA. Umutanda, you can check out our Twitter page, that's at One Day Leader and hashtag One Day Leader 5. I guess sizokuba holi benu ukuthi ngabe bona bathini ngalolu daba. Uma ngabe ungakazi ubukela uhlelo lwethu, listen out for our leaders' vision statements. Njengenjwayelo, Anisa, siqala ngawe, your vision statement please.
Kuvimihanda yomudgwanda kugeza Africa decede, a leader's vision for social justice emerges. We can, we must, and we will ignite our spark. South Africa, dithetha nani.
Thank you very much, Anisa. Leader 2, Sakile, it's your turn.
From the streets of Umlazi to the stages of the SABC, I believe in an open opportunity society where it is not where you come from that determines how far you make it in life. South Africa, sidinga ushintsho, yiba lolo shintsho.
Welcome, Rutabile, it's your turn.
Dilemo tse 150 tse fetileng ho la ba le phetho mesebetsing ya matsoho empa kajeno ho na le phetoho ditabeng tsa dipolotiki mo batjha ba etetseng dintho pele ho ba motjha ke ntho e le nngwe empa ba motjha le ba mahlong ke ntho e nngwe le nngwe #ditaba di mahlong.
All right, we're moving on swiftly to Leader 4. Welcome.
Let us work hand in hand at developing South Africa to become the utopia it rightfully is, where we drive regional and economic development by empowering young people. Afrika Borwa ya hosane, kajeni.
Sydney Lebo, it's your turn.
South Africa deserves a strong-willed woman to drive economic development and to serve society with due diligence. If we can change our mindsets, we can change our lives.
And last but not least, Titumeleng Sagwamgela.
Dumela Afrika Borwa. I imagine a South Africa of radical economic transformation. A South Africa that empowers its young people to believe that they are too legit to quit. Amandla.
All right, thank you very much to our leaders for your vision statements. Now, last week you voted, and I'm sure you're asking yourself whether your votes for your favorite leader made a difference. I guess bone impumela yamavote enu.
This week's viewer scoreboard has Ritabile leading the pack at 934 viewer votes and Sakile as the last person on the list at 101 votes. This means that Ritabile gets 1 point. Congratulations. Now let's take a look at our series scoreboard. Lebo is still leading the pack with 9 points and Ritabile following closely with 8 points.
Now remember, your votes do count and will eventually keep these leaders in the competition as we draw closer to our final episodes. Let's take a look at how you can do so.
To vote for Anisa, SMS Leader 1 to 32672. For Sakile, SMS Leader 2. For Ritabile, SMS Leader 3. For Sydney, SMS Leader 4. To vote for Lebo, SMS Leader 5. And for Itumeleng, SMS Leader 6.
Allow me to welcome our resident judges, climate activist and social entrepreneur, Catherine Constantinides. As well as President and CEO of Ditshego Media, Tebogo Ditshego. Judges, welcome. As our guest judge today, we have the CEO of the National Heritage Council, Advocate Swanobile Mangogwa. Sir, a very warm welcome to you. Now, you come from an organization where on a daily basis you deal with different cultures. Where would you say this tribalism stems from, and what effects does it have on our society?
We don't talk about the origins of tribalism. I think it's important for us to note that when Pixley Kaseme, the founder of the African National Congress, actually made in a statement in the University of Columbia, where he was a student, he decided to choose his topic, I'm an African. And something that was also going to be repeated by President Thabo Mbeki during the time of the adoption of our constitution. That was the time where, after 150 years of frontier wars, that is anti-colonial wars that were dubbed frontier wars, it is the time where blacks were fighting alone. The chiefs, people were displaced, communities were displaced. That's why the African National Congress was established. It was formed as the basis, actually, to unite, as a platform, to unite the people, the black people, that they must not fight alone. And of course, many years after that, we experienced that. That's where now this tribalism is actually coming from in our own history. And in the advent of our own democracy, we are then saying that this is still a demon, as actually Pixley Kaseme had painted when he spoke about this demon of tribalism. And I'm happy that our young people have come to shed some light, actually, as to say, how do we cure this demon of tribalism, which has got its own history in our own country?
All right, thank you very much, Advocate, for that piece of history pertaining to our topic today. Now, like with many of the problems we face in the country, some trace the problem back to colonial times when a borderless Africa was cut up and divided into colonial lands, when free-roaming Africans were limited by imaginary lines, and when Ubuntu was pushed aside in order to divide and conquer. We want to get to the bottom of imvelaphi yokucwasana ngeentlanga, and to do that we have to find out where exactly it comes from. Is it something that has always been there, or was it like apartheid manufactured to serve a certain purpose? I guess Bonuguti, what the leaders were tasked with around this issue. Good day, leaders. This week things will be a little different. With 9 official vernacular languages in South Africa, do we, as young black South Africans, still experience tribalism? Today's task is for you to find out whether this is still an issue. This week, you will also get an opportunity to meet one of your favorite local celebrities. You'll then make it your business to impart all of the knowledge and equip them with the necessary skills, as they will be the ones debating on your behalf. Your task leader for this week is Anissa. As usual, make sure you guide your team so you can successfully complete this task.
The qualities I was looking for in choosing a celeb is someone who's particularly able to express themselves well, someone who grasps concepts easily.
Hello.
You know, you have that perception of very famous people. Some stories you hear of other people that are very standoffish. So when I went into it, I was praying that, you know, we'd have that connection.
For this particular episode, we've been tasked to find someone we find inspirational, like a celebrity, and ask them to debate on our behalf. Okay. So that's why I'm here.
Would you be willing to?
Absolutely, let's give it a bash.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for your kind words. I'm glad that you find inspiration.
Definitely, definitely.
I'm looking for someone that has projects already running to empower youth.
I will be debating on behalf of a lady called Anissa, and she's joining us in studio this morning. Good morning, Anissa. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good, and yourself?
Lovely.
We went live on his show. I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought I'd probably have a meet and greet probably when he's done with his show.
Now tell me more about me debating on your behalf.
The topic is on tribalism.
Tribalism?
Yes, and if we as South Africans do experience tribalism and the solutions to curbing tribalism.
She's closer, so I just really want to see how it's going to play out, because back at home we have this stereotype that Xhosas don't mix with Sotho people.
I've honestly never debated before, but you know, there's a first time for everything. I've been through crazier situations and bigger challenges, so being thrown in the deep end is kind of cool for me. I kind of flourish in that space.
So you're adventurous?
Yes, very much so. I think like, if you just out of nowhere surprise me, it always just puts me in a really, really good place to run back.
It is quite nerve-wracking because you don't know what they have to bring to the table. I think you'd really represent me well on that podium. Okay. It's a heavy competition though, because you know, you'll be up against other celebrities that they've chosen as other contestants. I don't know who they are as yet. So our topic this week is tribalism.
Oh yeah, okay, one of my favorites.
I'm glad.
Just to chip in there, I don't think that it's as heavy as xenophobia or Afrophobia, you know? But it has been an issue in this country for the longest of time.
Most very basic thing in Shebile, in a multicultural environment. Given the line of work that you're in, being diverse as you are, working on a diverse set, and also having a diverse line of work, both in acting and in music, I really think you can do justice to that debate.
In all honesty, I hope that I do justice to it. It's a very deep subject to start with. Apartheid came into play and they separated us. So tribalism is a very interesting subject. Yeah. So I would be interested to see where we go with it.
The celebrity that I decided to go for, this is somebody whom I told my parents long ago that one day I'm going to be president of this country. Having an interview with him, I'll call him to my house. Now, luckily, it happens earlier than expected.
Well done, Mr. President.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. My father is a big fan of Bob Mabena. I am a big fan of Bob Mabena. So I remember one day when I was still young, and I said I'm going to be the first one to meet Bob. We even had a bet of 1,000 rand.
All right, a very interesting selection from our leaders and the choice of Osas Wayobabo Ababatanda Gakulu, who'll be debating this topic on their behalf. Join me after the break and let's see what our leaders' task will be. One day leader as we celebrate Human Rights Day. We're still discussing how tribalism continues to be an issue in modern day South Africa. Please visit our Facebook page, One Day Leader SA, to share your thoughts on our topic today. Omutanda, you can also tweet us at One Day Leader and use the all-important hashtag OneDayLeader5. For now, let's see how our leaders handle their task of connecting with a culture that is not their own.
What stereotypes do I know in terms of tribalism is that Zulu people always want to dominate, and Sakile is very evident of that, but we work around it.
A lot of stereotypes stem from ignorance, right? So like for instance, the whole idea that Zulu people are very dominating.
For this task, since we were asked to immerse ourselves in different cultures, I see a couple of challenges, me being Muslim. We might be required to taste certain foods, and knowing me, everything is halal. I'm embracing my Africanness. I'm proudly Rwandan, guys, don't forget.
I've never seen her looking like that. It was my first time.
Yeah, we were quite surprised. Anisa changed the manner in which I sang her head wrap kati.
So what I want us to do is, I'd like for us to go and visit a tribalism expert. Okay, so Pearl told us that we need to explore cultures. And I think the best place where we can actually explore these cultures is at Lesedi Cultural Village.
If you look at it in the present day, would you say that the preservation of one's culture is actually leading to tribalism?
There's no culture that is superior to another. White supremacy teaches us that, our culture as an ethnic group is more superior to your culture. We have been made to regard our languages as inferior. That's why you and I are sitting today still speaking in English.
A lot of people say it's because we haven't scientifically developed our languages, to say that there aren't scientific terms in isiZulu or in isiNdebele or Xhosa.
Every language can be developed. The point that I'm making is that we are not, as a country, making any effort. You see, Afrikaans was pursued the same way. In 40 years, they've managed to make sure that it's almost equivalent to English.
During high school, my grandmother would tell me what we know in Afrikaans as Wiskunde today. In the 80s, 70s, it was known as mathematics. That was something very important to note. And also to find out how do we take dipuo tsa rona and how do we preserve them to a point where they can naturally start developing themselves.
And I think everybody's going to understand their cultures very well, so I'm really excited for that.
Motho wa kgetsi ya kgeleke, motho wa nyome-nyome. Helele, bo Mofokeng, ke phoka, Mofokeng wa Modise.
Hello. Welcome to Lesedi. Lesedi, the place of life. Yeah, I'd like to show you what's happening around different types of villages that we have. Sikhulekile kaya. Icansi. In the afternoon, we sit on top of it. At night, we sleep on top of it. It takes 5 to 7 days to complete one grass mat. Selaboya! Ikhwa. Can you say ikhwa? This one is because of the sound. It's a fighting spear. You come close. I'm not gonna stab you. You protect yourself. Close, open. When you stab an enemy in the ribs, you twist it, breaking the ribs.
I actually figured out that there's some aspects of my own culture as Mzulu that I don't know, like Utlo. I didn't know it's called Utlo. That's what we call it.
Hotsong!
Manna batswere ke tlala batswere ke ramataka monna yo mosisane.
When we went to the clan ya Bapedi, the way ba etsa matlo bona ka teng, it's no different from the way Maxhosa etsa matlo bona ka teng, the way Basotho ba etsa matlo bona ka teng. We were made to think we are so different from one another. We ourselves were made to lose our own identity.
Hello, Retabile cities? Mopani wings, Mashonja, they like biltong. It's a finger licking good. Awungazama skim sang. Salty.
Nikala uzama pani worms and yeah. Wow, what a burst of flavor in your mouth.
It only eats some leaves.
Let's shit together.
It's halal also.
Very salty. Can you count for you?
She's saying it's not halal. How, Anissa?
The day of the debate has arrived. Our 6 leaders have come together with their chosen celebrities to do the final touches on their preparations for their respective podiums. We're now in the 11th hour. Will the celebrities live up to the expectations of our leaders?
Quite an informative journey that our top 6 went on. I've certainly learned a lot about the beauty of our land and its people. How is it that with so much beauty and diversity as a country that we're still experiencing tribalism? While joining me now in studio are 6 celebrities chosen by your very own leaders. Right, let me welcome radio genius, entrepreneur, author and motivational speaker, on behalf of Anisa today, DJ Sabc. Standing in for leader number 2, Sakile, I welcome TV personality and umhlobo wenene radio host, Zizo. And standing in for leader number 3, Ritabile, we have TV personality and fellow Metro FM radio show host, Lutando. In for leader number 4, Sydney, we have music artist and Mobango actor. Welcome, Brian Temba. Representing Lebo, we have TV personality and Generations, the legacy actress, Manaka Ranaka. And finally, representing leader 6, Itumeleng, we have radio legend and TV personality, Mr. Bob Mapena. All right, now, judges, these are our debaters for today. Any questions, Catherine?
No questions, just good luck.
Any advice for our debaters today?
Well, I think you should just have fun, but just check out for your publicists. We might do damage to some of your brand.
Thank you very much, judges. While things are certainly about to get exciting here in studio, Maswe Dolo, we will get to see how well each of our contestants did when it came to briefing their leaders on this topic.
A lot of young people are unemployed in our country, and when we do a dipstick assessment of why, we realize that they are undereducated or they don't have education. Secondly, it's because they don't have the skills that are required by the economy. There was a need for a youth development institution like ours to focus on education and skills development. We are looking at upscaling our grant funding program, our scholarship fund, as well as our second chance mentorship program.
Welcome back to One Day Leader. As you've seen, the NYDA is an agency that is helping young South Africans be more proactive in building the economic future of our country. I personally believe that the youth are the pulse of the nation. They are our future. And with organizations such as these in the forefront, we're more likely to see South Africa grow in big strides. All right, speaking of growing as a nation, we're still discussing whether tribalism could be a threat to the kind of growth we envision for our country. Is it still an issue? And if so, how do we resolve it? Now, with me in studio, our 6 celebrities chosen by our very own leaders are about to debate just that. For the moment you've all been waiting for, up first, we have Zizo, who'll be debating up against Manaka. Guys, the rules of engagement are very clear. 30 seconds for your opening statement, 60 seconds to debate the topic, and 30 seconds to close the statement. All right, Zizo, you'll go first. Your 30 seconds starts now.
All right, so we believe in an open opportunity society, one in which it is not where you come from that determines how far you should go. All right. Much of South Africa agrees with this. And that is why we are going to extrapolate our understanding of tribalism, the places in which it's impacted, and what we conclude, or rather propose, should be the solution. If we're saying tribalism is pertinent, you'd also need to extrapolate whether or not it's prevalent. All right, our solution would be
Thank you, Zizi. Your time is up. Leaders, you have 60 seconds.
All right, our solution would be looking at creating an understanding that there would be equal opportunities to contribute economically. Much of this comes from a space where people feel that they don't have an opportunity to contribute equally to the economy.
Okay, hang on. I misunderstood something here.
Sure.
We're getting 30 seconds each to say what we stand for, or
Well,
and then
she
start.
clarified
Okay,
that.
fine.
Can I
What I
continue so
believe,
that I
hang
can
on,
get my
before you
points
carry on,
across?
Zizo, I would like to also say what I believe we are talking about here. A system, which is, I believe that tribalism is a system that was concocted long time ago, before we even get to our country. Concocted long time ago to divide and conquer, right? So that riches of our continent can be extracted while
Yes, ma'am, I understand that. If you can give me an opportunity to continue, whether or not it was concocted, the point is it pertinent? And how are we finding solutions to finding the problem? Can I continue? Yes, it is. We can acknowledge situations like the one Limpopo that you have referenced.
If we can attack the education system first.
I absolutely
Thank you
agree
very
with
much,
you.
celebrities. These are you
I've
now
included
have
the
30
fact that
seconds
part
to
of our
continue.
solution, we need to deal with the fact that people need to understand that there are equal opportunities to contribute economically. So where are we looking? People who are in positions of decision making, are you an entrepreneur? Hire diversely. Are you a student who's not in a position to make that decision as yet? Learn about the different cultures, much like our leaders have done in the exercise today.
Believe
if you
that
had
if
listened
we
to the rules, ma'am, you would have realized that it's my point to conclude now.
Okay, cool.
You will have your opportunity. But please, let's do like the coat of arms says, South Africa, diversity.
Your time is up. Thank you very much, Zizo. Your time is up. All right, before we turn the tables and let Manaka begin, Manaka, you will have 30 seconds to give us your opening statement. 60 seconds for both of you to debate the topic, and the last remaining 30 seconds will be yours. In 3, 2, 1, you may go.
My 30 seconds, I believe that tribalism was a system concocted to divide and conquer. We all believe in that. So that riches of our continent can be extracted while the concoctors get what they want, which is being our rich minerals, right? While we fight each other, and while we are also blindsided. Now, I believe that education can play a very, very big role. At this moment, we stand in a place where when you go to so-called white schools, you get to be taught 2 different languages, which is Afrikaans and English, which may in turn makes
Manaka,
us...
30 seconds is up, but your 60 seconds starts now.
Right.
Thank you for the history lesson and putting it into context for us. Could you elaborate who are those concoctors and how are they currently playing a role in South Africa as we stand?
The concoctors to me would be the people responsible for colonialism, right? Obviously. But now, we are here now. We can't go back there. So my point is, we need, on an education level, we need to now force each other to learn different,
Who's
to learn
we? Let's break it down. How are we doing
okay,
it? Because
ask
there's
the people
9
who are in the
provinces.
tribes.
Where do we start?
Ask the people
Let's
who are
start
in
where
the
the
tribes.
numbers are at. Maybe can you break that down for us?
I'm not going to break down through numbers.
I'd like
but
to know.
Well, I will not give you that because I will give you what I want to give you right now.
We'd like to impact at the highest level or the highest volume of people. I'd love those numbers when you have an opportunity.
At the lowest level of education, which is primary, which I believe, is that if it were introduced into the system, that at least we can pick certain cultures that we need to learn of.
2014 survey of the SA migrant program report.
We will be
Thank you very much, celebrities. Manaka, thank you very much. Zizo, your time is up. Thank you very much.
We will be able to respect
Manaka, you have 30 seconds to conclude.
My conclusion is that if we were to work on an education level, we will be forced to learn of other cultures. I believe that if we do not do that, we will not see the importance of respecting each other's tribes, differences, cultures, and everything else. That's what I believe in.
All right.
I'm not a debater.
All right, Babugeli, quite a heated first debate. I will now take you to Sakile, leader 2, being represented by Zizo. Your thoughts on that first debate?
I thought she was very concise. All her points were on point. She explained the issue and she delved right into the solution, so very well done to her.
Lebo, your thoughts on Manaka?
I think Manaka did very great. I just think the only thing obviously was just the understanding of the time itself. But I think we stuck to a main point, and it's very important for us to stick to something that's a main point, so we keep driving that home. And I love that she did that. Stick to one point all the time.
All right. Okay, we'll keep the momentum going. Judges will come to you. Deboho, your thoughts on that first debate?
Well, that was a very hot debate. I think, Manaka, you're correct. We need to look at our education system. Zizo, you look like a seasoned competitor here. I think you deserve another round of applause.
The verdict, judges?
You're very passionate about that. And I think it wasn't unanimous, but the winner is Zizo.
All right, thank you very much to our first celebrity debaters. Now remember, Nine Makaya, voting still remains the same. The voting lines are officially opened and will only be closed on a Thursday afternoon. Ngakho-ke qhubekani ngokuvotela umholi nimthanda kakhulu kwak-SMS igama elithi leader and their number to our SMS line, which is 32672. Nikhumbule, your votes will be revealed at the top of next week's episode. Masibuye Dolo, we get to our next round of debates. Mphinde nginamukele ku-one-day leader. Sisakupa lona usuku lwamalungelo ethu njengabantu abansundu baseMzansi. We're still discussing ukuthi kungani ukucwasana ngeinhlanga kuseyinkinga kuthina abantu abamnyama bakhona la eMzansi Afrika nanokuthi singenze njani ukuyigwema lento. Our celebrity debaters are here to give us insights into the topic and to also come up with the solutions to it. Our next debate is between Loot Love and Brian Temba. You guys know the rules by now. Loot Love, your 30 seconds starts now.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, tribalism has mimicked the flawed ideology of white supremacy and robs us of our identity as Africans. Instead of mocking and degrading our very own beautiful cultures, we should actually be celebrating them and putting them up high above everybody else. And by above everybody else, I do not mean the fact that you should think the person next to you is any less than you. What we can do to change this is create an anti-tribalism attitude amongst our own South Africans by having African literature, dominate basic education.
Thank you very much. 30 seconds is up. Your 60 seconds starts now.
But how do you change that, Zizobet? Look, when we have xenophobic attacks in South Africa, you know, what we know right now is that we all come from Africa. We all come from Ghana or wherever else. So we are one united. We should be united, but we're not. We're still suffering xenophobic attacks.
Well,
so how do we solve that?
The first thing is this: we need to learn where we come from. We need to understand our history. And in schools, we don't even have our history dominating when we learn every single day. The first thing you learn when you get into school is English, and that is the problem. Yeah. We are a country that comes from a place where our very own people were exiled and saved and protected by other countries.
But how do we solve this situation now? I know you're saying we should learn.
We start in school at a very young age. That's where it starts. We cannot change the minds of grown people.
What about media?
We cannot change the minds of adults.
My problem right now is media. Right now is the biggest part of our lives, of our youth, if you were to say. How do we...
So pick up a book. Take your eyes off the internet.
But
pick up a book. Stop watching the news.
It's easy to say pick up a book.
Thank you very much, celebrities. Loot, your 30 seconds starts now.
My 30 seconds is that the white man has robbed us of our land, and we as Africans, I don't understand how we could ever allow this to happen, but it is fine. We carry the spirit of Ubuntu, and we've always been able to unite despite our differences, and I think it's time we remember that Umdu, Ngumdu, Ngabantu. If a young man in hip-hop like Ricky Rick can celebrate Zulu women and have the entire nation dancing and moving, then we can stand firm as Africans and stand against tribalism.
All right. Well, the tables are turned. Brian, your 30 seconds starts now.
As I said before, we are suffering xenophobic attacks in this country right now. We look at another African man as somebody that's different, somebody from another country where we didn't have borders before. You know, but the colonialists actually put borders between us and separated us. So there is more need for us to be aware about xenophobic attacks and tribalism.
All right, 60 seconds to debate the topic.
as I was saying, what we're suffering right now, there's a xenophobic type. I'm not even about that. Right now, you see separations between Zulus, Xhosas, Sutus, vendors, Shanganis. Right now, in Limpopo, vendors and Shanganis are battling because of municipal issues.
The problem is this: we keep looking on the outside for the answers, when we should take our very own and decide, you know what, actually, why am I angry at a foreigner? Why am I mad at this guy? Why do I blame him for the drugs when it turns out that it's actually within us? I am Zulu, I am Xhosa, so what? What does it mean? It is Xhosa, and then what?
Yes,
it doesn't make you any less?
The problem is there is that. There is that, and the thing is, how do we
I think it's time we held ourselves accountable and looked to ourselves. Instead of looking at everybody who's done this and created situations and colonialism.
How do we do that? How do we do that?
You have the conversation amongst yourself.
How do we do that?
You see a man.
I'm looking at young people, looking at social media, looking at TV, looking at...
Thank you very much. Brian, you now have 30 seconds to conclude.
My point is that media, it plays a very big part in our society. And I believe that the SABC, from shows like Mubango, they show a lot of culture mix. They show a lot of vendors, Zulus mixing together. And that, for me, solves the problem of tribalism. And I think they need to put more shows in play for them to target that problem. I think we'll be fine.
All right, thank you very much. That was our second debate that just concluded. Sydney, you are being represented by Brian. Your thoughts?
I'm actually very proud of the both of them. If I was Tebogo, I would say that was a very mature debate. I was very happy with the points, with the points that Brian put across. And I think that him using Movango, being an actor from Movango, was just very powerful. I'd give him the debate.
All right. Retabile?
I think Ludlove did a really good thing by counteracting the argument of xenophobia, that it starts with tribalism first, that we need to deal with that, and then only can we go into xenophobia. I liked how she talked about schools and how we should also look at music that also influences us to celebrate our cultures instead of mocking them. So I definitely give it to her in terms of how she looked at the problem holistically.
Thank you very much, leaders. Catherine, your thoughts and the verdict, please.
I think this was a very different debate to the first one. It was, however, the soft powers were at play here, and you both made very important points. I loved the point of African literature. I thought that was very powerful and very important. I would have loved to have seen more about African literature brought out through the debate, but you both used personal experience, you used where you come from and your places of passion, which I thought were very powerful. But today, our Lutando takes...
All right, our final debaters are standing by. It is the battle of the radio personalities, DJ Sbu and Bob Mabena. Sbu, I'll start with you. Your 30 seconds starts now.
All right, for a nation to live, the tribe must die. Those are the famous words of Samora Machel. A perfect example today is the person I'm representing. Her name is Anisa, and for her to be here, her parents escaped the Rwandan genocide. A lot of the times, the her parents were arrested, and at some point, they wanted to cut her out of the stomach. They wanted to kill her, but they escaped and they made it to South Africa from KZN to being in the Free State right now, to being the young, amazing leader that she is right now. That Rwandan genocide became that genocide because of
Thank
the
you very much.
Hutus
Time is
and
up,
the
Sbu.
Tutsis.
You will now have 60 seconds to debate.
All right, as I continue, I just want to say, just like Mozambique, we need to do away with ethnic differences and promote what is called South Africanese, because we must be able...
I would argue that it's survival of the fittest. You know, nobody is nice enough to say, oh, you are so nice, I will allow you to exist as a
I agree to that, but I mean, that's mental slavery, where the Xhosas are against Zulus, everybody's saying Tsonga, Shangan, etc. And that was indoctrinated in us by, as you were saying, the previous government, right? And which is wrong. So for us to move forward as a country, we need to be providing solutions. And solution right now is education.
There's stubbornness in existence. So if people are to be integrated and forced to be integrated and they don't want to, so there will be war. I mean, war, and then there's anarchy.
But you don't have to start with adults like us right now. Start with our children. Start them young. Do away with all the different ethnic differences. And
how do you induct your child then? Do you say to your child, you are Mupedi, but you are a nation of Africa?
You are South
you have to say you are Mupedi, and then Bapedi, they do this.
Thank you very much. Sbu, you have 30 seconds
We're
to conclude.
South African first before we are anything. Our country comes first. Now we have to be diverse. The person I'm representing, as I was saying, she's Rwandan, South African. She lives here right now. A television, as Brian was saying, that plays a very big role, the media in America. When we watch American media, we watch Hollywood, we watch hip-hop music, which is highly influential all over the world. It's no longer music just for black people. It speaks to all over the world and it's a big voice. So that those are some of the examples that can happen in our country if we do away with the ethnic groups and promote South Africans first.
All right, thank you very much. Bob, it is your turn. Your 30 seconds starts now.
I represent a young man who's definitely going to be the president of this country. But I'm also a Darwinist. I believe in the concept of you survive, your ability to compete, survive, and reproduce. The strongest will always survive. So if Botswana are weak, that's their problem. When the Europeans landed in this country and colonized, they didn't do it in a friendly manner. They went for the Zulus, and in the Battle of Isandlwana, the Zulus fought back. When the white man came back, he didn't go, let me go to Bapedi, went back to the Zulus.
All right, time is up. You now have 60 seconds to debate the topic.
Now here you are talking about violence. So you're saying
yes.
the weak must die. Why must they die? Why are you perpetuating violence when you're a leader yourself?
I'm not perpetuating violence. I'm saying it's natural selection. It's Darwinist. It's been proven by history. The strongest will always survive. Even in genealogy, it is always the strongest who will survive. If you are weak, you will not
you
survive.
And I,
the issue
being
about
on the microphone every morning,
Zizi was earlier on talking about our insignia. About it's in the language that's on there is not Sepedi.
You and I should be preaching unity. You and I should be preaching
the language that's on our emblem is that of a different culture that we don't.
Which I totally understand and I agree.
All of us here, the Zulus, Botswana, and everybody else.
You made an example about people fighting and killing one another.
That we don't even
if you are talking about people fighting and killing one another, it's part of our history.
Is that we do not allow the people that we oppress to be one of our official languages. We've oppressed them, they are disappearing, and we are sitting here and talking rainbow nation. It doesn't make sense to me. They are disappearing. Survival of the fittest.
Thank you very much, Bob. You now have 30 seconds to conclude.
I believe that we've been lulled into a sense of niceties and niceness. You know, the world is very cruel. You know, we cannot sit here and tell our children that people are going to be nice going on about their business. The strongest always survive. We need to have the African people being as strong as possible to perpetuate who they are and be who they are. Survivalist is the best thing. The weakest will always die. There's no doubt about it.
All right, that was our final debate. You question up in studio. Anita, let me quickly find you. Your thoughts on this debate?
I really loved the way DJ Sbu brought in my history, and I also loved the way he promoted beating this with education, and the fact that over the weekend he just had a concert that raised funds for kids, for school, and this is, yeah, it's thank you so much, DJ Sbu. I'm at a loss of words.
Itumeleng, your thoughts on Bob?
Uncle Bob, that's why you are the legendary. What he did is that he took a stance that none of the contestant was willing to take, and which is the stand of realist. He subscribed to an ideology of realism, Darwinism, focusing at the actual nature of what is happening on the ground, and that is what he is addressing. You are the legend. You nailed it.
All right, judges, I'm going to turn to you. An advocate, please tell us your thoughts on the debate and the verdict as well on who took this one.
Wow,
Actually.
This was a battle of warriors, indeed, and both contestants actually showed a deep insight in understanding our history. But of course, Sbu, you know, your quotation, it was quite fantastic, and but also to go on to talk about, you know, the issue of being an African, and the whole issue of unity and so forth. But of course, we can't take it away from, you know, Bob, the whole issue of raising the consciousness about who you are, you know, first. That's why I'm saying it was a very difficult task for us to choose. Sbu takes it.
All right, but as I take it to the ad break, our studio audience will get an opportunity to also have their say by voting for their favorite celebrity contestant this week. Mbukeli, ungayikuleyo ndawo. Welcome back to One Day Leader. Ngempela episode yethu namhlanje was extra special on a day where we are celebrating our human rights as South Africans. These rights, however, need to come with a level of acceptance, responsibility, and of course embracing one another in our different cultural stripes. I hope it also inspired you at home as much as it has inspired me. Parting words from our judges, please, very briefly. Tebogo, I'll start with you.
It's important for us to understand that we are stronger when we work together. So we must end tribalism and all forms of discrimination.
I think the leaders have really made an epic show. So thank you all for your great choices in celebrities. I think we need to move forward as a united South Africa with a united pride that joins us together.
All right, thank you, Catherine. An advocate, parting words from you.
I think the debate was robust. But I think we should maybe go more, for instance, to understand the issue of spirituality. How does spirituality play its role in enhancing or in hampering us being a united nation? That has not been dealt with. But lastly, I think it's also important for us to also really to revisit history.
All right, I'm going to reveal very shortly who the audience voted for as their favorite celebrity debaters today. All right, I bet they're feeling a bit antsy. But a big congratulations, DJ Sabc and Zizo. All right, we'll also take our final comments from DJ Sabc and Zizo.
I really think that the reminder is really on all our national collateral in the coat of arms that really says diverse people unite.
I really would love to see these types of shows on all over SABC1. I think you guys are future leaders. I think you guys are all amazing. And we need to talk about things. Sugarcoating things won't solve anything. We need to talk more, and you guys are the future. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to Anissa and Sakile. They will both get a point each. For now, let's take a look at our overall scoreboard.
Our final scoreboard for this week sees Ritabile and Lebo neck to neck with 9 points, and Itumeleng sits at the bottom of the table with 4 points.
Remember, at home, we'll be showing your voting results at the top of next week's episode. Voting lines are closed on Thursday in Dambama. Ngithanda ukubonga our candidates, our celebrities, our judges, and of course our studio audience. Kanti-ke nanilapha emakhaya for joining us on this episode. In the words of American politician and activist Cynthia McKinney, we are way more powerful when we turn to each other and not on each other, when we celebrate our diversity and together tear down the mighty walls of injustice. Mbukeli sesifike emaphethelweni alihlelo lethu lalomuhla, kodwa siphindze futhi sihlangane ngeviki lelitago. From myself and the rest of the One Day Leader team, lishonile nina libakalazize.